Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today. I hope you enjoy the next hour discussing and learning more about cross-cultural awareness and understanding. I'm Veronica. I've been a teacher for quite some time, and then I started a career in publishing, first as a writer and then as an editor. Today I have a profile on Instagram called The Professor Autor, and I'm helping teachers that want to become writers, authors, content developers. So if you have a chance, go and check the information I'm sharing there with you. And today I'm going to share what I learned about cross-cultural awareness and understanding while I was writing Game Changer for Cambridge University Press. So thank you very much for your time. Yes, it's good to see where you're from. So if you could just, type where you're at. Okay, Cotia, Piracicaba, Jundiaí. Okay, Rio Preto. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Okay. All right, in Peru. São José do Rio Preto, São Paulo. Yeah, I'm based in São Paulo now. So hello, people from São Paulo, and hello, everyone else. So I'm going just to give you one more minute while you are introducing yourselves. Olá da Inglaterra, right, hello. And I'm going to give you like some more seconds, and then we are going to get started, right? Because I don't want anyone to miss the information that I'm going to share with you. But I also want you not to be, bored by waiting for the other one. So, hola from Peru. Thank you. Hola. So, let me just start sharing here my screen with you. I hope you can see it, right? Hello from Ceará. Good. Yes, you can see it? Right. Thank you so much. So as you know, Game Changer is the new series for lower secondary here in Brazil that was based in the Life Competencies Framework by Cambridge, and also had a kind of partnership with Instituto Ayrton Senna to help spread the word with the marvelous work they do with education here in Brazil. So without, more, let's move on and see the agenda for today. First, I'm going to give you an overview of cross-cultural awareness and understanding. Then we're going to talk about working with culture in the classroom. I'll be introducing you to the Around the World section. That is one section of the book. And then we're going to see how to promote cultural awareness and critical thinking in the classroom. Okay, I really want your participation on this. So whenever you can ask questions that we can discuss at the end. But during my presentation, I'd like to count on you to interact with me and give you your opinions on some of the things I'm going to ask you. Is that okay? Good. So let's move on. Look at the pictures here. When you look at these images, what words come to your mind? Just type one word on the chat. Type a word that comes to your mind when you look at these pictures. Imagine you're looking at a picture in the book, culture, music, right? What else? What else? Globalization, community, way of life, right? Okay, diversity, party, different cultures, exactly. So I agree with you. When I look at that picture, I see all of this. But the word that usually comes to my mind is culture. And then when I was planning this webinar, I was thinking, but what is culture? I mean, we all know it is that the pictures that we saw can represent culture. We can talk about like Brazilian culture, but if we could give like a definition of what culture is, I don't know if it would be that simple. It wasn't for me. So, of course, I went to the Cambridge Dictionary online and I got this first definition. The way of life as you mentioned, especially the general customs and beliefs of a particular group of people at a particular time. It was good, brief, straight to the point. But then I started looking for some other definitions, and I got to the anthropologists, those are the people that have more, ideas about it. And we have culture is the acquired knowledge people use it to interpret experience and generate behavior. Yeah, I like it, that one too. But then I found this one, a bit longer, but let's see. Culture encompasses religion, food, what we wear, how we wear it, our language, marriage, music, what we believe is right or wrong, how we sit at the table, how we greet visitors, how we behave with loved ones, and a million other things. And I thought that this one was really, really nice because, as I mentioned, when we think about culture, to me, it's like culture is like everything. So in this particular case, the lady here, she could give like this big definition that brings everything together, right? But the truth is that we all have a definition for culture, if it's like more simple or more complex. But in the end, it's always the same, okay? It's everything related to a group of people. Do you agree? Yes or no? Type it on the chat. Yes. Okay. So now that we know what culture is, it is important that our students know what it is. And it's our job as teachers to help them understand it, to teach them, to explain culture so that they feel like more comfortable, to make them aware when they need to develop the cultural competence that will help them live in a world like we have nowadays. The world is totally connected. We are here. We have people from Peru. Yes, we have people from Rio de Janeiro, Ceará, São Paulo. We are all connected. You are in your living room. You are in your office. You're in the dining room. I'm here. And we are all connected. So when we do that in classroom, we help our students to engage with people in an effective way. And then they can understand people from different cultures. So let's see. What now, when we mean here, when we teach culture, we are also now talking about cross-cultural. And I would like you to tell me if you believe that these images here, they would define or reflect or express cross-cultural something. Do you think this could be called cross-cultural, like in general? Do you think this represents cross-cultural? Yes or no? Okay, so cross-cultural here refers to any kind of interactivity between members of different groups. So if we see here, they are all, mixed up. They are different groups together. So there is some interaction. This is what we call cross-cultural. Now I'm going to share you a very lovely image that's from my private archive. This is a personal image, okay? The girl here on the right is my daughter, and the other one is her friend. And back in 2019, we spent some time in Canada, and our friends invited us there to help decorate the Christmas tree, because in Canada they put up the tree and then they decorate on December 1st while they are listening to Christmas songs, while they are baking cookies, and the kids are all happy helping decorate the tree. And for us, it was a great experience. Why? First of all, I'm not sure it's clear enough, but if you look at the picture, through the window, there's snow on the streets, and it was snowing. We don't have snow here in Brazil. So it's usually funny for me when I go to the mall and I see Santa Claus there, during Christmas time, all with the heavy clothing and the boots, and I say, oh goodness, we live in a tropical country, poor Santa Claus, right? But there, Oh yes, we have snow now. Ooh, but not in on Christmas time. But there, it was like perfect, because when I looked at this image, it seemed that I was like in a movie, because I could see the snow. There was all that, you know, magic thing of the Christmas with the snow, with the smell of the cookies in the oven. So we don't bake cookies, usually not during summertime, otherwise the house gets too hot, right? We don't have Christmas song. I mean, I remember one from Simone that people that are, you know, the same age as me will probably remember, the one that Então é Natal, and we go like on and on every year with the same song. If you know any other, please let me know, because I think this was the only song during yeah, the worst song ever. I think that was the only song we heard when we were, you know, kids. And then they have lots and lots and lots of songs. You know, we even have now our playlist with Christmas song that we, you know, started creating when we were in Canada, and now every time we get to Christmas, we start listening to it. So now, going back, you know, to the definition of cross-cultural. This is a real example of cross-cultural communication. Look at the definition that we have. Any of various forms of interactivity between members of different cultural groups. So to me, this image represents everything that is related to culture and the cross-cultural competence that we have to teach our students. I could teach my daughter about different cultures while we were living there, you know. And one more important thing, for example, when we were leaving the house, my daughter, she got like a box of chocolate that is called the Advent calendar, that we don't have it here in Brazil, only in Canada and some places in the US, but they are very popular there. I know that in some countries in Europe too. But why? It's a box of chocolates with 23 small chocolates and one bigger chocolate. And then what happens is that every day the kid can open one of the boxes, little boxes, and eat one of the chocolates. And then on the 24th, yay, it's the big one. Yeah, it's the big one. And it's so cute, you know. It was like so interesting to be part of that different culture and learn with them and talk to them and see what people do. And in this way, I could teach my daughter how to behave, how to respect, how to learn with other people, okay? And then I understood why we don't have the Advent calendar here, otherwise it would be melted by the 24th. Right, can you imagine 23 pieces of chocolate? So now that the meaning of cross-cultural is clear, let's focus on the buzzwords, okay? Awareness and understanding. I was going to ask you if you think that they are the same thing, but I'm already giving you the definitions here, and then you let me know, okay? So awareness is knowledge that something exists, or understanding of a situation or subject at the present time based on information or experience. And understanding is the ability to understand something. Comprehension, right? So when I say, that I took my kid to a different country and we were invited to put up the Christmas tree decorations, I created on her the cultural awareness. So she knows now that people in Canada, they put up the trees on December 1st and they get the Advent calendar, right? So it exists. And once we were there, she could understand how that worked. So she got the ability to understand why those things happened, what people did, okay? So we know that I could tell her that the culture was different, you know, from what we have here in Brazil and what we have in other countries. So why is it important to work with culture in the classroom? That's the big question, and I'd like your input on that. Why is it important? If you work with culture, in your classrooms, why do you think it is important to tell our students, okay, this exists and this is how we are going to go about it? Why do you think? Can you give me one or two ideas, please? Okay. Language is culture. Yeah, remember one of the definitions? Teaching languages is teaching culture. Agree. Respect. To make teaching meaningful. Exactly. I totally agree. We're connected. We are. Yeah. It's almost impossible to separate language and culture. Yes. I'm sure you all remember when you were learning English that you always learned something about the American culture or the British culture or Australian or Canada or, yes, they are, to learn new information. Good, yeah. I remember when I started learning English, I learned English at Cultura Inglesa, so it was all about the UK. When I entered the school, when I saw those posters, it was like, oh, my dream to go to the UK, visit London and go on the double-decker, Yeah, I'm sure you have those memories as well. Now that we have some answers, I would like to share what I learned, of course, and what I could reinforce while preparing this webinar. Because again, when we are teaching culture, deep inside, we know why we're doing it. But sometimes we can't put like a definition to all of this, right? So that's why when I asked you, you started coming with some ideas, right? But in a nutshell, I tried to summarize them into these topics. So let's see. To start with, needless to say, Brazil is a multicultural country. Okay, we are in contact with other cultures, traditions. Let me know you a little bit more. We have one person from Peru, right? But if you are Brazilian, what is your cultural background? Where are your parents or your grandparents from? Or are you like the fourth Brazilian generation from Europe? We probably have Canadian, Brazilian Canadian living in Berlin. Oh, I love Berlin. Portugal, Italy, and Belgium. You see, we're in a room with people from different cultural backgrounds, and I am sure that if I ask each one of you to tell me something that you do at home that you would like to share with other people because you learned with your parents or grandparents, you will have something to share, right? Sometimes we do things like without even noticing, yeah? Because we learn this at home and we just take it. And we sometimes don't even know that it's the culture of another people, another country, right? Okay, Argentina and Italy, good. So if you live in a big city like me, you'll probably see people from all over the world. Nowadays, with the internet, we have now, even in smaller cities, we can find people from other countries, right? And when we teach our students that they can learn with these people, I believe they become more tolerant to culture and they become also more interested in the traditions. So another brief example, okay? I promise. I here in São Paulo, people from São Paulo probably know the neighborhood here because there are lots of Jewish people. So it's known as like the Jewish neighborhood. Well, we have the shopping mall, we have the main avenue, and we have like thousands of synagogues like everywhere. And we see the people walking on the streets with the hats, with those, the kippas. The ladies are wearing the hair thing, not the wigs, but also the kind of scarf. And you walk here, and now you see, for example, Happy New Year, Happy 5782, I think. So everywhere you walk, there are the signs, you know, even if the shops are not Jewish, they're not selling like kasher food, nothing, they have it. Why? As a way of respect to the local community. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's like here we are in the Jewish neighborhood, but we have the Japanese neighborhood here in Liberdade, where you go and you find food, you find all kinds of things related to the Asian culture, not only Japanese, right? So, of course, living in a Jewish neighborhood, my kid has Jewish friends, and sometimes they come to our house. But when we decide, when we organize a play date, and then she goes, all right, better. And then she goes, Mom, don't forget to bring the pão de queijo kasher, because our friends there eat kasher food. So when they come in, we have to be prepared to serve them the food that they can eat. Brazilians are like this. People don't come to our house and you just don't offer anything, at least like coffee and a pão de queijo, or coffee and some bread or something, right? So this is something that she is learning because she is living in an area with lots of Jewish people. It would be the same if we lived in Liberdade. People would come to my house and we would probably have those Japanese snacks, right? And then if the kids, the students, everybody, when we are exposed to different cultures, and when we want our students to be exposed to different cultures with examples in their course books, students can start to notice that there is a different culture everywhere, you know, and then they live with it in a comfortable way. They start to be more tolerant. They respect people more. So this is one of the most important thing for me, especially now. We are having like lots of things going on around the world. So it's important to teach our students what happens so that they can learn and they can respect people's, you know, choices, way of living, culture, traditions, okay? So another thing is, yeah, that's it. Seeing the others see yourself. Very good. I like it, this one. Enhances self-awareness. By understanding what is important to us, yeah, what values we have, we can understand others much better. Once we know our origins, for example, as I asked you where your parents, grandparents were from, we tend to be sympathetic to others, you know, as the people might also have gone through the same issue. So, for example, you are teaching and then a new student comes in, right? And the student can speak Portuguese. I mean, they just arrived from, I don't know, Nigeria, from Brazil, and they can't speak Portuguese. But then in the school or in the classroom, you have another kid from another country that also came to Brazil, that also had to learn Portuguese, that can be, you know, sympathetic to this new kid. And then they can help this new kid by making this kid more comfortable in the room, you know, because we know as adults, we know it's hard to fit sometime in a group. What about our kids? What about our students? So once we prepare them for the things that are happening around them, they will have the ability to come and ask, well, what if it were me? And then they can help. You know, they can be more available to learn and will respect other things like culture, traditions, and customs. Well, another one. Okay. Demystifies own prejudice and preconceptions. We know there's always some kind of prejudice or preconceptions. Well, we Brazilians are known because of our carnival and soccer. I know things are changing. We know things are changing. But unfortunately, not in the speed we would like them to, right? So probably when you travel abroad and you meet people that are not teachers, for example, and you say, oh, I'm from Brazil, they will say, oh, carnival, soccer. If you've been to another country, you probably heard this in your life at least every time. Well, I did. So I think, it happens. And when we are teachers, we become more critics, for that. So one way of demystifying this is by teaching our students that culture is much more than a stereotype, right? This will reduce preconceptions and will also make prejudice kind of disappear towards certain cultural groups, right? Of course, when we are walking on the street and there is like a person wearing, I don't know, hijab, I don't know how to say that, but that scarf. And then we have the people wearing the kippah. And then we have people wearing like those long dresses, like the people from Africa. If your student, look at it, recognizes that as a sign of culture, they are not going to make fun of it. They're going to respect it. And this is what we have, to prepare our students for. Again and again, we are more and more connected. So we have to help them understand that it is okay to be different because you are following your own beliefs. Now, of course, as teachers, we have to take advantage of this cultural awareness and understanding and use it as a vocabulary teaching moment. Because once we teach culture, we also teach all the vocabulary related to it. So, for example, we're talking about Scotland, okay? We might teach like kilt, bagpipe, Highlands. We can talk about the food. So there's always room for teaching vocabulary when we explore different cultures, right? And last but not least, it builds confidence. When students know more about traditions, customs, way of life of different people, they gain confidence when they have to interact with people from other countries. It's not like, oh, I'm from the US. Oh, so you eat hamburgers and French fries. No, the more they are exposed to it, to the different information they have, the better. Because when they find themselves in a situation when they have to talk to other people, if they know more about the culture of those peoples, they can expose their opinions much better. They feel confident in discussing about things, okay? And the same about their own country, culture. For example, if we go to another country and we have to talk about Brazil, what would you talk about? You, as a teacher, you are talking to, I don't know, you met the manager of a company that is going to send, I don't know, clothing items to Brazil. You're there. Oh, you're in a restaurant. Another person listens to you speaking Portuguese with someone else. And oh, so you're from Brazil. Yeah, so what can you tell me about Brazil? Because the person is not interested in carnival or soccer. What would you say? Music. Okay. We can talk about Brazilian music. What else? What comes to your mind? The multiple differences we have, right? Folklore. Diversity. Agreed. Yeah, there's no problem in talking about carnival and football, but I think that we have to show that we are much more than that. Yes? Beaches, population. Okay, politics. Okay, next. Food. Okay, painters, writers. How huge Brazil is. The variety of cultural expressions. Yeah, what we produce. Talk about beautiful place. Yes, we can talk about the wonders we have here. Okay, and we have a lot to talk about our country. And we should make our students able to do that as well. I'm not sure if you already did it in one of your lessons, but have you ever taught a lesson about Brazilian culture? Yes. Have you ever had a chance, like, okay, so today we're going to talk about Brazilian culture. What is Brazilian culture? No? No, don't be ashamed. You still have time to it. Yeah. After today's session, I'm sure will have like insights on how to do it now that you're looking at the benefits, right? And we should encourage our students to do that, to talk about their country and to be proud of the wonders that we have here. Okay. And besides all that I told you, we have the BNCC, that it's the official document that included culture as part of what students should develop in the school year, along with reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. So if you read here, we have the eixo dimensão intercultural. Okay, so all the aspects related to the interaction, to the connection between culture, okay, the students' culture and the other ones, I mean the ones that are from speaking English countries, to make living much better, to make them respect each other, to make them solve conflicts, you know, and to value diversity. Okay. Having said that, that's when game changer arrives. Okay. Here in the book, we have a session to work with culture that was specifically designed for the series so that teachers and students have the opportunity to work with cross-cultural awareness and understanding in the classroom in a very engaging way. Okay, so the topics were selected to present students with different information to help them reflect how culture changes around, you know, the world and how much they can learn with these differences. So once you look at the texts in the book, you will be able to work with a lot of things. Of course, in the teacher's book, we give you some suggestions, but you're always open to include your own, you know, touch. And according to your students' background and the kind of students you have in class, you will be able to make your own, you know, contributions. So here, for example, this is how it looks. Okay, so you always have a text and the activities. Okay, so it's good to know when we have, okay, so you have here, sorry, you can start using pictures to activate students, you know, schemata, what they already know about the topic. So for example, here, if you look at these images, what kind of questions would you ask your students? What kind of questions would you ask your students? Just type it. Look, we have a girl here, we have a clown, the circus, an acrobat. This one is for the starter level. It's for kids around 11, 12. So sexto ano, 6th grade. How's life in a circus? How are the pictures related? Have you ever tried anything like this? WH questions, right. Good. Okay, so are they still popular today? Okay. Have you ever been? Will you try any of them? Okay, appealing to people in our culture. Do you have any skills? Perfect. Good. So once you showed that picture, okay, you can start exploring other parts. Okay. Here, for instance, you have the kind of text that's like a website article. You have here the comments, you know, at the bottom. Okay. You have here ways of working with the comments and see if your students agree or not. We always have one session here called Think. That's when the students going to develop their critical thinking that we're going to see soon. And they also have the web quest. This is something super nice where students have to go online and look for the answer to the questions that we have. Okay, this is a way of bringing multiple means to the classroom, not only the printed book, but also having the help of technology to make your classes even more engaging. Okay, and we also have the video that will bring more information. And then look at this other image. If you looked at the image only and not the text, would you say this is Japan? If you looked only, to the picture. No. So why would this be interesting? Because you showed students the picture and you asked them questions like, what can you see? Where is this place? What gives you the idea that this is, I don't know, Mexico or Japan or Brazil? So you start asking questions to the students to activate, what they already know. South Brazil, Minas Gerais. Yeah. You start asking them questions, and then they will bring you, information. And this is Japan. The text is Rethinking Waste, Lessons from Japan. And then you can explore, like, the title. What is waste? What's another word for waste? What do you think people do in Japan? Why do you think this is called rethinking waste? So you can start asking previous questions to get students, into the text, to prepare them to the reading before they actually read it. And this will help show them how things work in different countries. This is going to help them, open their minds for more information about other countries. Instead of, Japan, what do you know about Japan? Oh, I know animes, I know sushi, sashimi, the food, I know Mount Fuji. What else our students know about Japan? I don't know, Naruto, probably Dragon Ball, all those cartoons, right? But actually, do they know that people in Japan recycle their waste, what they do with their waste? No, so this is something that we can teach them because this is part of the Japanese culture as well. Now, let's see. And here, together with the cross-cultural awareness and understanding, we are also able to work with critical thinking in the classroom, okay? This provides learners with a possibility of giving their own opinion as well as giving them a chance to reflect on something. So again, you can start an activity talking about what they know, about Japan, but then you are going to end having students think about what they learned and how they could use that in Brazil, for example, or in their city or in the neighborhood. You help them make a reflection on the things and how they could benefit from it. Okay, this is ready for you teachers here in the think session. Okay, this is where you're going to work with the critical thinking in the classroom. Now, how do we work with critical thinking in the classroom? I have here some possibilities that I'd like to share with you, okay? Now, we can start always asking questions, but what we have to have in mind is that they should be open-ended questions, because this way students can share what they already know and they can also expand on the subject. We as writers, as authors, we always tend to avoid yes/no questions in the books. And if we have like, do you like this picture? Why or why not? Always work with the WH questions, because this is going to help you get exactly what you want from your students, and they will be able to communicate more. They're going to be able to express more what they already know, because it's like, you know, when the parents ask your kids, how was school today? Okay. And that's it. Because if we ask the right questions, they'll be able to produce more complex answers. So this is what we have to do with them in class, okay? And then we can have them working in groups. Was good, exactly. Sometimes students don't feel confident when talking to the whole class. We know that some kids are shyer, some kids are more, you know, reserved. They're just introverted. They don't want to speak. So working in smaller groups, you know, might be a good alternative for those kids to participate. You know, students that are more introverted, maybe they feel more confident when talking in a smaller group, especially with the students that they are more, you know, connected to. It's a way to make them speak and talk about, you know, what they want to share with the classroom, because they have something to share. They always do, okay? And sometimes they don't, because we don't provide them, you know, the environment for that. So we have to make sure that we are there for those students. Now, brainstorming. As I did with you here, exploring the pictures and having students talk about is a good way to develop their critical thinking, because sometimes, as I said here in the Japan, when they think about Japan, they're going to think about animes. They never thought about waste. So this is something that, well, what else do you know? Okay, animes, what else? And then you can work with like a spider web on the board, but it's a way to make them speak. Sometimes they don't even know, oh, is this Japanese? I didn't know it was from Japan, because another student shared something that they know. And then they say, oh, yeah, you're right. So they start, you know, thinking about what they already know. And this is a way to develop their critical thinking as well. Because at the brainstorming stage, there is no right or wrong. It's just like students talking and saying what they know, okay? Now, encouraging creativity. Well, as teachers, of course, we prepare our lessons, and we tend to prepare like everything, right? Good. But try once in a while not to prepare everything and have students help you prepare something, okay? Because this way they can be together, creating something together. This is a way to give them a chance to talk, discuss, negotiate, and develop their critical thinking. Collaborative work is great, especially with kids when they are like younger, because they don't go like, oh, I'm ashamed of doing this. No, they just do it. So the more we can make our students work together and speak for themselves, it's a good possibility for them to develop critical thinking, okay? One more, very important thing to me, I think one of the most important would be making connections to real life. Someone here mentioned that learning has to be meaningful, language is meaningful. So the things we see in class and that we learn at school, they can be connected to life. Almost all of them. And in this way, students will be paying attention every time something happens. So for example, let's imagine you are teaching a lesson about clothes to try to have them speak about a situation when they had to go to the mall. And especially during like a Black Friday or something, okay? They will see in the shopping mall all that 30% off, sale, of course, delivery. Try to make them aware that that is English, that this is connected to the lesson that you taught them last week, for example. So while you were teaching, try to make them make connections to their real lives and say, okay, so let's see the price of goods. How much is this? And then you put that symbol for money and they say, oh, I saw that on the mall. Oh, I saw that on, I don't know where. But try to always make these connections, okay? And then solving problems. By bringing a context to class and encouraging students to think about the solutions to this problem, okay? you make them think critically and find a way to apply all the concepts that they learn in other subjects as well to this specific problem, okay? So, for example, we don't have a recycling bin in the school, and then they are learning about recycling with the science teacher, for example. So what can they do to help the school community? What they can do to help the neighborhood community? Oh, can we put like a stand and collect old books to donate to kids? I don't know, anything and everything can be included in your classroom to promote critical thinking, to make students think how they could solve a problem and help someone else, okay? And this again, go all connected to culture, because if we develop this in our students, they're going to take this as part of their own culture and will pass that, forward. Now, the last one, comparing and contrasting. This is a simple but very popular way to have students think critically. Sometimes when we think about critical thinking, we go like, oh, they have to discuss about. No, sometimes if they just compare a book that they read today with the book that they read last week and see how faster they are reading, how much more they can understand, how they are already reflecting critically, they are thinking about their development, their progress as students, for example. So comparing and contrasting is simple because they will have to think about main points of one thing, okay, and then compare it to another one. You can help, of course, by asking questions, but then students will feel free, super free, like super positive, super competent to talk their own, okay? Let's look at some examples here. For Game Changer 1, we have, do you feel safe during Carnival? Why? Why not? Remember, always asking WH questions. What do you think about the safe area for teens in Olinda? I've never been to Olinda, so I learned that there is a safe area for kids in Carnival. You see, we always learn things when we are writing, when we are teaching, okay? Now, for Game Changer 2, do you believe public art can influence people to study and learn? Why or why not? Then, in Game Changer 3, why do you think there may be a link between social media and depression? What can you do to avoid negative effects from social media? So you see, the topics are very updated. Students, teenagers, they will connect instantly with what is in the book because they feel that that is meaningful for them. When I was writing, my part in the book with my colleagues, I was like researching a lot about what teenagers like, because I have a kid, but she's 6. We know that they are totally different when they are 11 and 12. So what do they like doing? What these teens, preteens are doing nowadays? What games they are playing? What food they are eating? What kind of clothes they are wearing? What interests they have? So as an author, it is a challenge to keep those students motivated because we have to make them understand that this learning is meaningful for them, okay? Now, and in this case here, you have 3 examples that you can work with. Connections to real life, brainstorming, working in small groups. So all the suggestions I gave you in the previous slides will be there, okay? Now, this is just a little bit of what you're going to see in the series. There is a lot more. So I put here some of the around the world pages from the different levels that I really liked. This beautiful Olinda, I loved this text. The Home on Water. We have sign language, universal. So things that can make students feel that they are going to learn more about other cultures. They are going to reflect about their own culture, okay? We have a link here on the chat so you can look and learn more about the series, okay? We also have here the executive preview that you can see one sample unit and know the series in more details, right? And here, I'm letting you my contacts. So it's my Instagram account at the Professor Autor. My email is contato.kenver@gmail.com. And if you have any questions about the series and if you want to know more, you can talk to the people from Cambridge at attendimento.br@cambridge.org. Thank you very much for your time. The chat is open. Please let me know if you have any questions, anything you would like to say, okay? And I'm here. You can ask, whatever you want to know about the series. It was a pleasure to have you all here. And I hope you could enjoy this hour and had like more insights so you could use in your classes from now on to keep your students motivated, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, we still have some minutes, so if you want, just let me know if you have any questions, okay? Thank you. Yeah, the books look really, really good. They're amazing. I was in love, because when you write and you see like a Word document and then you see the complete material, it's amazing. They are really, really nice. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Okay, I'll be here for more 2-3 minutes. If you want to, just let me know if you have questions. Okay, I just got a question here. Have you ever faced conflict when promoting critical thinking in the classroom? No. And why not? Because with my students, I've always worked with respect first before, the cultural part. But we have to show them that people are different. So once they learn this, as I said, they are super tolerant, teachers. When we teach our students that they have to respect that people are different, then there is no conflict. Of course, you always have to be we have to pay attention to what you're going to teach. So, for example, let's imagine you are thinking about religion. Another time, one teacher asked me, but Veronica, how do you teach religion? In English, we have some topics that we avoid because books usually go everywhere in the world, and we have topics that are not, suitable for all the markets. But here in Brazil, I think we are open to discuss about everything. But the point is, when you talk about religion, for example, and in your classroom you have people from different religious backgrounds, the point is, do not discuss faith. Do not discuss beliefs. What you have to discuss is history, right? You don't say you are right, you are wrong. You just put the facts. Oh, this is the story of the Jewish, this is the story of the Muslim, this is the story of the Christian, and it's fine. So once you have this connection with your students, that everything that you show them should be respected and people have to be kind to each other, then there is no conflict that needs to be solved in the classroom, okay? What are the accents from the listening? We have many different accents in the listening activities, okay? And I'm sure you're going to see when you really look at the books, you'll be sure that we have like American, Canadians, English. We try to make, a mix. Yeah, we do. What are the teaching we used to be? Okay, let's see. Right. If you have any other questions, Okay. Right. I see a question mark here, but I don't see. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Don't forget to click on the link here that Katja is putting, so you can have a look at the preview. Okay. If you have any other comments, you can let us know, and you can always reach me at my profile. Okay. American English or British English? It's American English. Okay, so the spelling is American English. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Good. Well, I think that's it for today. There's someone typing, so let's just see if another question comes in. Otherwise, yeah, thank you. I would really like to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I hope you can check the pages of the book and that you can work with cross-cultural awareness and understanding in your classes, okay? And then you're going to be super proud of your students when you see that they are like thinking for their own, okay? Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Bye.